So the truth is that you have been trying to smash. I have the proof.
She says she got the proof. This is my first time actually reading the text, and I just feel like this is beneath me.
When betrayal enters a room, it does not knock. When it erupts, everything you thought was real is upended. Imagine two women standing face to face in a difficult situation, Rasheeda and Jasmine, connected by a single disheveled hair. Kirk is acting like the father, and Jasmine confesses, "I have a kid." Rasheeda felt the words hit her like a ton of bricks. When Rasheeda first sees Jasmine, her mind attempts to connect the dots. Kirk's secret relationship with Jasmine and his sudden claim of a child directly impact Rasheeda's sense of devotion and trust. She searches for answers, anything to make sense of the turmoil that has suddenly invaded her life. The tension grows as Jasmine refuses to back down, demanding her version of events be heard. Jasmine is resolute and unyielding, firing back, "You're directing your rage at the wrong person." She isn't there to take accountability. In her view, Rasheeda should listen to her side of the story. Jasmine asserts that Kirk made his own choices. "I didn't coerce him into doing anything," she says. "If you're upset with him, be upset with him. When he came to me, he made the promises." Each phrase stokes the intensity of the moment. But Rasheeda isn't about to let Jasmine shift the blame entirely. She retorts, "You think you're innocent? You made the decision to participate even though you knew what you were getting into." The scene grows more heated as the two women, both deceived by Kirk, clash. Jasmine explains that Kirk's pursuit of her made her feel important, no longer just a supporting character in someone else's story. Meanwhile, Rasheeda burns with anger, furious at Kirk for publicly humiliating her once again. Then it happens. Jasmine's defiance and betrayal push Rasheeda over the edge. The room echoes with the sound of Rasheeda's hard slap across Jasmine's face. It's more than just a reaction. It's the culmination of betrayal too deep to ignore. Jasmine stumbles back, startled but unyielding, as tears of fury stream down Rasheeda's face. Rasheeda believes things can't get any worse until Kirk walks into the chaos. After the confrontation, Kirk enters the scene, but if he thinks he can calm the storm, he's completely mistaken. Rasheeda's anger locks onto him like a beacon.
Blank, if we... That's what that says. And now you going back on your word after I signed the release form for Cannon. I take you back to court. Don't play with me. You didn't ask me to cash app you no extra money towards the rent. I just did it out of the kindness of my heart because I knew you were behind trying to help you. That wasn't no extra money. That was what you're supposed to be giving me anyway, since we agreed to whatever the number is.
Kirk, explain this, she demands, pointing at Jasmine. "How did we get here again?" Kirk makes a weak attempt to defend himself, but his explanations fall flat, implausible and rushed. His rambling about being in a tough situation or feeling misunderstood does nothing to erase the fury or sorrow on Rasheeda's face. To Rasheeda, this isn't just another mistake. It's a betrayal that calls their entire partnership into question. Kirk isn't just a flawed man in her eyes anymore. He's a spouse who has repeatedly disregarded their marriage. His choices don't just hurt her, they impact their entire family, including their children. Memories assault Rasheeda like a painful movie reel. Their marriage was already faltering because of Kirk's behavior. Fans of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta will remember the infamous DNA test scandal, when Rasheeda had to confront Kirk's infidelity in front of millions after he fathered a child with another woman. This latest betrayal is just another chapter in a long book of excuses, lies, and public humiliation. Kirk pleads for forgiveness, desperately trying to salvage what little dignity he has left. But Rasheeda is resolute. "Forgiveness is no longer the issue," she says coldly. "It's about respect, something you clearly don't have for me or our family."
The deal on the text messages. Is that what we got going on? Because the fact that I'm even sitting here, even listening to this is beneath me. And I'm sick and tired of this. Straight up. What is up?
This time, Rasheeda was worried about more than Kirk's behavior. The years of dishonesty and broken trust are what hurt the most. After their massive blow-up, everything Kirk had done over the years hit her like a ton of bricks. This was not a singular occurrence. Kirk's long history of betrayal had slowly undermined her trust in him. One case that really stood out was the whole paternity issue from the third season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The public catastrophe that followed Kirk's childbearing with someone else while they were married was one of the show's primary plotlines. When the DNA test confirmed the allegations, Rasheeda was forced to confront the reality of his adultery in front of millions of people and cameras. By focusing on their family and their joint achievements, she tried to push beyond the anguish for the time being. That pardon did come with some rigorous conditions, however, which Kirk found difficult to adhere to. Furthermore, Shirley, her mother, never held back when voicing her opinions on Kirk's actions. Who could forget the insane moment when Shirlene slammed her car into Kirk's motorbike out of rage? That demonstrated how protective she was of her child. Now it made a lot more sense. The treachery was not the only thing that bothered Rasheeda. It has to do with Kirk's destruction of trust after years of efforts to rebuild it. She had been juggling her responsibilities as a wife, mother, and businesswoman while handling all the public upheaval. Standing in the aftermath of yet another betrayal, however, she couldn't help but question whether it was time to move on. The decision disturbed her. Was it worth it to stay in a relationship that had brought her so much pain, or should her pleasure take precedence? When everything settled down, Kirk had to deal with more than just a furious wife. Slowly but surely, he realized that this time, he could have truly gone too far. Instead of being just furious, Rasheeda's answer was sad, and it was clear that she was finished. He's seen it in her eyes and heard it in her tone. She wasn't just talking about leaving, she was really thinking about it. When news spread, it became a hot topic. Supporters banded together to condemn Kirk's behavior and stand up for Rasheeda. Her posts were inundated with comments urging her to leave and reminding her of her worth. Her supporters took up the mantra, "You deserve better," and Kirk's numerous errors drew a lot of criticism. More and more people were talking about divorce. Now, friends and admirers were pleading with Rasheeda, who was known for her grace and fortitude, to put herself first. Instead of whether they would make it, the conversation shifted to whether Rasheeda was now ready to continue. Meanwhile, Kirk felt a little alone. He started to realize that he might lose all they had built together, including his wife. For years, despite his mistakes, Rasheeda had been his pillar of support. Now he had to face the real possibility that she would choose to go, and he would be left to bear the repercussions by himself. As Rasheeda considered her next course of action, one thing became clear. Kirk was no longer the sole element in this. It was about her worth as a person, her family, and her future. She had fought for their marriage time and time again, but now she had to ask herself whether it was worth it. Rasheeda has spent years trying in vain to patch up her relationship with Kirk after the most recent infidelity. Rather of being extravagant or spectacular, their parting chat was serious and dismal, filled with all the anguish they had experienced. Rasheeda gave Kirk one more look and stated firmly, each word striking home, "I deserve better." Instead of being angry, her tone was one of cool confidence, that she had finally reached her breaking point. It had nothing to do with regret or revenge. It was the truth. Kirk begged her for forgiveness in a desperate and heartbroken manner. But his words were insignificant, considering Rasheeda's ordeal. He wanted her to stay and give him another opportunity, but no amount of apologies could win back the trust that had been lost. Rasheeda had already made up her mind long before they had a conversation. Once she finally realized how valuable she was, there was no turning back. Rasheeda took a deep breath, then turned and walked away without looking back. This time, she wasn't doing it for anybody else. She didn't do it for Kirk or their family, but rather for herself. She was ready to start a new chapter of strength, independence, and self-discovery now that her marriage was gone. As this unwavering woman closes her chapter, fans are wondering what she will do next. Rasheeda is such a strong woman, a person said, but even strong women have their breaking point. Kirk has been nasty to her for years. She must put herself first. She really deserves better. "I'm proud of Rasheeda for finally walking away," said another. Maintaining a toxic relationship for the sake of family is very draining. She is leading by example, and many others are watching. According to a third admirer, Kirk really thought he could keep playing Rasheeda and she would never go. This should wake him awake, but I really hope she doesn't turn around. Now she must be the main attraction. There are several possibilities available to Rasheeda now that she is married. Supporters are curious as to whether she plans to focus her family, look for work, or perhaps begin a new chapter in her life. Without a question, she has always been a powerful presence, and she is now more determined than ever to continue. Numerous individuals have already begun to speculate about Rasheeda's next step. Will she devote all of her focus to her businesses and take advantage of this time of growth to further her career? Or will she prioritize her kids and give her family some much-needed peace? There's little doubt that Rasheeda's strength will get her through whatever path she chooses to follow. She sent a strong message to everyone in a bad relationship when she decided to leave Kirk. By putting herself first and letting go of what wasn't working, Rasheeda is inspiring others to appreciate themselves and stand up for what they are entitled to. It all boils down to empowering others and proving that it's okay to let go for your own enjoyment and welfare. Now, I'd want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Rasheeda's decision? Was she right to finally let go of all her old belief systems? Or was she right to embrace the true power of joy and live the life she wanted to live? What are your thoughts on Rasheeda's decision? Was she right to finally face Kirk? So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.